We started on down the road. Lucas groused at me on account of the effort we were putting into a single bottle of beer for his chili, but I assured him we were bound to find something between the cabin and the next town. After all, I wasn't that picky, but I did want something that didn't taste the same going in as it likely did coming out. Not long after I gave Lucas my reassurance, we saw this bluish-gray building with large lettering that read Beer Wash. I pointed and said emphatically, "There we go, pull in." Lucas nodded and whipped his Jeep into the parking lot. I noticed a couple of cars and motorcycles parked along the side. This must be a good place given it was in a relatively remote location and it still had customers. I hopped on out of the car and urged Lucas to hurry up. I opened the door and let Lucas go first. I took one step inside and immediately knew this was not the sort of place I was expecting. A group of motorcycle enthusiasts sat at a round table near a television. They were dressed in black leather pants, leather vests, and had chains linking their wallets and belt loop. And that was the women. The men wore much the same outfit, except their biceps were twice as large as the women in the group and a fair size larger than my own. I looked wide-eyed around the joint. I was all confused. It looked like a bar, except there were beers inside wall-mounted refrigerators like you might see at the local Kroger. There was a fella behind a bar that had nothing but beers chilling on shelves behind him. I looked at Lucas, and he looked as confused as I felt. About that time, one of the bikers spoke up and asked, "What do you boys need?" I wanted to say I needed to get the heck out of there, but I did not want to risk insulting anyone in their group. I started stammering, "We need a beer, just one beer. We're making some chili." I reckon I sounded pretty ridiculous, and the group of motorcycle enthusiasts started laughing. Of course, by that point, I was in a full panic. I wondered if any of those large gentlemen could outrun me in their tight leather pants, and was afraid of what might happen if they could. However, I couldn't stay any longer, as I knew we didn't belong in that establishment. I looked at Lucas and said, "I don't see what we're looking for. I think we should probably go." Lucas did not seem to pick up on the vibe in the room and responded, "There's a lot of beer here. Let's just pick one." The bartender said, "You need to buy more than one beer." The look on Lucas's face said all I needed to know. He looked back at our motorcycle friends laughing and the bartender smirking. He finally turned to me and said, "Yeah, I think you're right." We both raised up our hands and said, "Sorry," as we backed out of the beer wash. As soon as our butts had cleared the doors, we made a beeline for that Jeep and prayed it would start on the first crank. As I made my way quickly into the passenger seat, I happened to look down at my shirt. Darla had given me what I used to call God shirts. They had a short message from God on them that was humorous and designed to make you think about the Almighty. Looking down, I saw my shirt read, "I saw what you did, God." I shook my head as I started mumbling about how foolish I had been and how lucky we were to get out of there in one piece. Lucas looked over at me and asked, "What is your problem?" I just kept shaking my head. "What are you doing? Get us out of here before somebody decides to come and see if we left." He cranked up that Jeep and got us out on the road. "Okay, what's up?" asked Lucas. I realized Lucas would not leave me alone, so I told him to glance at my shirt. The Jeep started a jerking and weaving down the road as Lucas laughed. I hollered that he needed to get himself under control. Then I bust out laughing too. I finally got a hold of myself and said, "I reckon I know what those bikers were laughing at." Lucas got a serious look on his face. "I don't think that's what they were laughing at. That shirt might have saved us. They probably took us for a couple choir boys." Lucas's words rang true, and I got real serious and took a long breath. "Lucas, let's not go to the beer wash again." Lucas smiled and nodded in agreement. We both decided at that point it was probably best to just drive into town and try one of the larger grocery store chains in the area.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.